Hello everyone! Today I will be talking about my thoughts on Avengers Infinity War, with spoilers and non-spoilers at the beginning, so don't worry. You know, Marvel thought that they had the most epic crossover event in history, but little did they expect...
Thwip thwip!
The latest addition to the Zing Cinematic Universe.
Hey everyone!
Nathan. Let's get started. For the first couple minutes, we're going to be talking about the movie with no spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, we'll give a warning before we go into some specifics. But, Nathan, what were your general thoughts on the movie with no spoilers?
Non-spoiler, I think best Marvel movie.
Okay.
Ever, yeah. It's been 10 years in the making, and it was just so satisfying to see it all pulled off.
It's very different than any of the other Marvel movies because rather than following a traditional 3-act structure with a traditional arc for the story, I would describe it more as an event, kind of a non-stop, beginning to end event.
Yeah, because, you know, in English class we're taught, you know, the setup, the introduction, the rising action, and then the climax and the resolution. But the whole movie was just the climax.
I'd say so.
And it was just non-stop, bang, bang, bang.
With so many
Very
characters, like 20-something heroes teaming up, there's a lot of potential for things to fall apart, and they managed it in a really interesting way by... there are some characters who never even met in the movie, and it's because... they were split up, and there were several different stories going on at once, and I think that was a smart way of making the movie feel contained in a strange way, because you expect it to be like this huge, all-out thing, but it feels contained in some ways because the characters are split up and on their own journeys, and that's another good way to bring out some of the more interesting dynamics between characters like Stark and Doctor Strange, and characters like that who you want to see interacting more versus trying to put all 20-something of them in one room. By
kind of splitting it up, it really helps. Just because if you just throw, like, the Guardians who've never met anyone, just here's like the whole team, you don't get the funny stuff between individuals. It's just like, okay, we're here to help.
Yeah.
Pew pew pew.
That's the other thing. It was a really funny movie for anyone who's worried that it would be too dark, too serious. There are definitely some dark moments, definitely, but some very funny moments. Drax is always very funny, and he's very funny in this movie again.
Yeah, one of the funniest characters.
Yes.
I think.
If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it. It's very awesome, very epic. The action's awesome, and it's really, really well done. So go check it out if you haven't yet.
And yeah, I'd recommend if you haven't seen it, see it as early as possible, because then people in your movie theater will be big fans, and everyone claps and stuff, and it's just a really cool experience.
Yeah.
When you have other fans in the audience instead of waiting a few weeks, and it's just like the old people, like, I heard this movie was good, I haven't seen the other 18.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can watch this movie without seeing the other 18, but I think this movie's going to be most effective for the people who have, and the people who know and appreciate these characters. Okay, so now we're going to be talking in depth with some spoilers. We'll kind of split it up, talking about story, action, characters, maybe like that. So, how about, Nathan, who is your favorite character in this movie?
I'd have to say Thor, because I didn't see Ragnarok in theaters, so Thor Ragnarok was the most recent Marvel movie I saw before this. I saw Black Panther and then Thor Ragnarok. So, just going straight from Ragnarok to Infinity War, that's kind of where it picks off, is right after Ragnarok. And then Thor has this moment where he's with the Guardians, and he's like, yeah, I lost my dad, my brother, and my sister, and now he's all by himself, and he has nothing to lose, and that's the sort of selflessness. And he's like, if I get killed by Thanos, like, there's no point of living anyway, so...
Yeah, My favorite character in the whole MCU is Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Oh, yes.
We're both repping Spider-Man right now. He doesn't have as large of a... Thor had a really large role in the movie, but Spider-Man had some of the best moments, I think, especially at the end. He packed a really emotional moment there.
I cried.
Yeah, when he was... Me too. I think everyone did. When he was...
the people behind us were sobbing.
Yeah, they were... there was one girl in our theater who you could hear her sobbing. She was, in the back, and she was sobbing audibly. And then as the movie was ending, she was going... No! And it's like, oh my gosh.
And when it went black and the credits started, she was like, no.
Yeah, she was sobbing the word no. That was a very emotional moment.
Yeah, Peter was people's breaking point, really.
Yeah. Also, one big surprise for me was Ebony Maw, a.k.a. Squidward. Because I thought he was really interesting. You expect, the four, mini bosses that they have to fight before Thanos to be kind of boring. But I thought especially Ebony Maw was cool.
I liked how they had, different powers and stuff.
Yeah, that was the coolest part of those four.
Here's 4 strong crocodile dudes. It's here's 1 strong crocodile dude. Here's, a wizard. Here's this, assassin girl.
Yeah, and I thought... Squidward was especially cool.
Yeah, and they actually had characters and lines,
especially
and stuff,
him.
Instead of "I'm just here to kill you."
Yeah, some of the other ones didn't have as much of a character as he did, but they were all still cool, and the idea was cool to have them face off against some different villains with different powers before facing off against Thanos. And the other cool thing was seeing the different heroes use their different powers and collaborate with them.
Oh, yes.
Like when Doctor Strange was making platforms for Star-Lord to jump off of to get to Thanos. Stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, and when Spider-Man's going through the portals and he's like, portal kick.
Yeah.
Punch, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. And it was Doctor Strange's powers combined with everyone else's. That was really cool.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was really cool. So Doctor Strange was cool. He's always cool.
We can talk about Star-Lord a bit.
Yeah,
because he's an important one.
Yeah,
because one could say he kind of screws everything up in the movie. Yeah, just because he lets his emotions get in the way, but that's also his character.
Because I think it'd be much less interesting for him to have just kept his cool and been like, okay, I'll just wait a couple seconds, it's fine, she's dead, I'll just wait. But I thought that made him a lot more human. He is already one of the most relatable characters, and I thought that just made him even more relatable, and I thought that was for me, that was watching Peter find out that Gamora had died was a more impactful scene than watching Gamora die.
Yeah. I just realized there's Peter Quill and Peter Parker, and I was like, wait, Spider-Man didn't... Okay, anyway.
Someone else said that to me too, but they're both Peter.
But yeah, that whole... it was really cool how they combined their powers to hold down Thanos. I thought, Mantis would be, a useless character. It's what could she even do? But then she does actually more than I expected in this movie.
Not as much in combat, but she'll, jump up on somebody and put them to sleep or whatever. So, or read someone's thoughts.
Yeah, and, I mean, we've talked about it, but we never specifically... You said Gamora dies, and I said Loki dies without...
Did we talk about Loki?
No, I just said Thor was oh, my brother's.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so, Loki, I was just starting to like him. I mean, I did like him. I started to get on his side, and he's he's not too... He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to see him in, the final scene, battling Thanos, and, I'm with the good guys now, but... It never really got to happen.
Yeah, I think that was a good way to start the movie because it immediately sets up Thanos as a real threat and having a large death right off the bat, even though Loki's died a couple times in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe just the once, but I would imagine he's going to stay dead And
Yeah, they have 2 lines dedicated to he's dead.
Yeah, like he's actually dead. And I thought that was really cool because from then on, every time Thanos is on screen, you're scared for the characters because he's just such a threatening presence. Especially, I loved that opening scene where it's like a boxing match with him and Hulk.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about Hulk for a bit?
Yeah, he's not in it much.
Yeah, I mean, I find it because in Ragnarok, it was like he's been Hulk for 2 years, so maybe he has to be Banner for 2 years, or something like I don't know. But it just seems like Hulk, not Banner, is having this issue with coming out. He's like, no.
Yeah, I think that was more from a writing perspective, wanting the Avengers to kind of be perceived as the underdogs in this story, like with.
Well, even when Hulk was the Hulk, he was still getting pumped.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And yeah, so now it's another unanswered question going into the next movie is where's Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Also, where's Ant-Man and Hawkeye? I really wanted to see Ant-Man.
And the Wasp too. I mean, I really wanted to see Ant-Man especially, but I think they're saving them for the next movie.
Yeah, I didn't know when the movie would end, and at the final shot, I was just waiting for Ant-Man to pop off of Thanos' shoulder and just punch him in the face.
That would be
wanted
cool.
Ant-Man to pop out of nowhere and just punch. Oh, I also thought it would be cool. I don't know how he would get there, but when Gamora's getting thrown off the cliff, if Giant Man came out and caught her, I was like, how is she gonna live? But she doesn't.
She doesn't, which will be interesting for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah. So, Vision also.
Vision also dies. I think the 3 deaths that will stay permanent are Gamora, Loki, and Vision.
But I also heard when the Wakandan Shuri, is that her name when she's trying to?
Shuri is the scientist.
Yeah, when she's trying to extract the Infinity Stone, she's also saving his data, or something.
Oh.
Or how much data is saved or something.
Right. I think I think
Vision is dead, but
I think
there's
so.
always him in a virtual
right.
form, maybe.
I think that if they brought him back, if they brought any of those 3 characters back, it would lessen the impact that the movie had as a whole. I think Vision is gone. I think what was interesting about the way they did it too is that they really did a good job convincing the audience that there was a way he could live. And then they even save him. They get the stone out of his head without killing him. And then they go back. Then Thanos goes back and kills him anyway. Am I saying it right?
No. Doesn't Scarlet Witch
No,
kill
she
him?
kills him. And then Thanos kills him again.
Yeah. But I just thought it was really cool because Thanos is set up as this super bad guy. So I was really happy when Scarlet Witch killed Vision. I was like, yes, Thanos is not gonna win. And then I audibly said yes. But then those stones are just too powerful,
Yeah.
And
Those stones. Thanos was one of the best villains of the MCU.
Yeah.
I think it's him, Killmonger, Vulture from Spider-Man, and Loki.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is even with so many heroes in this movie, it was Thanos was kind of the star of the movie in a way.
Yeah, because Thanos kind of is the one with the story arc.
Yeah, he has the biggest arc.
Because if Thanos thinks he's the hero, and if you see it from that, it's like a superhero movie about Thanos, and he's like, oh, I have to get these stones to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of the movie, he saves the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the most important scenes for his character was when you see him crying as he kills Gamora, showing that he actually does love her, but he thinks he's making this big sacrifice to save the universe. And I thought that was really impactful. And I loved the last shot where he's watching the sunrise, because he says he just wants to sit and watch the sunrise on a hopeful galaxy, and he thinks he's doing that.
So, what's your thoughts on where to next? Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, I read this morning, takes place before Infinity War.
Okay.
Which will be interesting.
I think, here's my theory about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
Hawkeye's gonna be in it.
Okay.
Then, they're gonna do like the whole riding on the arrow thing again. And then the post-credit scene, Ant-Man's gonna like turn to dust. And then Wasp has to be like, oh hey Avengers, it's me, the Wasp. You don't know me, but I'm gonna help you get back your friends.
Okay. Something
and
like
then
that,
I don't
maybe.
think Hawkeye's gonna disintegrate because they're keeping like the original Avengers.
Right.
They're the ones who didn't.
Yeah, jumping off that, after the half the world turns to dust, the only Avengers left are, for the most part, are the Avengers from the original
movie.
Avengers movie, which I think is a really clever way to have it so that Avengers 4 coming out next year can just follow the original cast and we can get to see them together one more time before those contracts end and some of the characters die.
It's really weird because Rocket Raccoon is...
Rocket's alive, and so is...
Okay, so the characters who disintegrate.
Yes, so the original Avengers cast is still around. Rocket is still around.
He's the only Guardian who's...
He's the only
still
Guardian
there.
who's still around.
Yeah, no, Groot.
Groot and Drax and Peter are gone. Both
and
Peters.
Gamora's.
And Gamora's already dead.
Mm-hmm.
But then... there are also a couple Black Panther characters still around. Shuri, I think Shuri's still around and a couple others, but Black Panther himself is gone.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel, as we saw in the end credit scene, will be showing up. Her solo movie comes out later this year, and it takes place in the 90s, which, so it doesn't have anything to do with Infinity War yet, but she'll be showing up.
I'm sure the end credit scene has something to do with Infinity
I bet it
War.
will.
Oh, what if the end credit scene is her getting the little beeper thing? And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
I'm needed.
Okay, how about we go into, like, talking about the different story lines?
Yes.
So... the first, the movie starts with all of the Asgardians and their ship being boarded by Thanos, and that kind of takes us into the first scene on Earth with Hulk and Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Yeah, I thought that scene, like, you get it just quick. Oh, Iron Man and Pepper Potts married. Okay, now Thanos is here, and they just jumped right into it. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't expecting that, but then it's like, you don't really have time to introduce and see what were they doing last.
I think that scene will kind of tie, because he was talking about kind of wanting a kid, I think, and that could tie into an emotional moment in the next movie with him and Peter, where he kind of starts to see Peter as a son, if he doesn't already.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so if potentially Iron Man dies in the next movie, Pepper Potts is going to be like, well, I'm pregnant.
Maybe.
And then Tony Stark's kid is the new Iron Man.
Something like that. I don't know. I think the thing is, if Tony Stark doesn't die, there needs to be a reason why he's not in the next Spider-Man, because he won't be in it, because his contract's expiring. Same with Chris Evans, although but mainly just for Tony in that Spider-Man movie. So then we see Doctor Strange, and they all fight with Ebony Maw, and that's a cool fight. Spider-Man shows up, and we're thrown right into things, and from then on it just goes. Actually, from the very beginning it just goes. It doesn't really slow down. You don't get a second to breathe.
You really get Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man together in a group, and then you get the Guardians who split up.
Yeah, the Guardians meet up with Thor, and then Thor goes off with Groot and Rocket. And then the rest of the Guardians end up with Tony and Peter.
Mm-hmm. I really liked when they met each other, and Peter Quill's trying to show him, like, hey, I'm like a good leader, but and then like half of his group isn't there, and it's pretty
and then they don't listen to him, and he's like trying to be the leader of the group.
Mm-hmm. But that was very funny with Star-Lord and Thor. They're back and forth trying to.
Yeah, they made some good pairings of characters who would be funny together. Peter Quill and Thor, and Tony and Stephen Strange.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't see where it was going, where like what Thor, Rocket, and Groot had to do, but then it was like, oh wait, this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
They have to get Thor a new weapon because his hammer is gone.
Yeah, and that's one way to pull kind of the most powerful Avenger out of things, like I was saying earlier. They found a way to keep Hulk out of things and a way to keep Thor out of things so that the Avengers really feel like the underdogs for the whole thing.
Yeah, because in the first scene when Hulk is fighting Thanos, I'm like, wait, Thor like pretty much almost beat Hulk in Ragnarok, so how's Hulk even gonna beat Thanos if Hulk or if Thor can do it? So also I cried twice. The first time I cried is when Thor comes into Wakanda. It was so cool when he has like the axe and he's just like, bring me Thanos. That was just so cool because I don't know why I cried.
It's fine.
It was just so cool. And then Groot's arm as the handle.
So their whole thing was.
Oh,
cool.
and when he took on the whole like energy of a star, that was awesome.
Yeah, Thor. They really found what Thor should be.
Yeah.
Because the first two movies with him were and then the last two movies with him have been awesome. So.
Because like I was saying, Thor is just sacrificing himself because he's like, if I either die to a star or I'm gonna die to Thanos. So. And because everyone he loves is like gone now.
Yeah.
And him and Mary Jane broke up.
Mary Jane.
Mary.
I think it's just Jane.
Oh yeah.
You're thinking Mary Jane from Spider-Man.
I was like, that doesn't.
No.
No, yeah.
And then what's the other storyline that's going on at the same time as all those? The one on Wakanda. And then there's Vision and Scarlet Witch, and they meet up with Captain America.
Their romantic interests in each other.
Yes, which has been set up a little bit previously.
Mm-hmm. Because they just want to kind of take a break from being superheroes and have like a normal life together. But then, nope. And then Cap comes in, and...
and then Sam.
And speaking of Cap, what I thought... he never really got a shield when he was like, get this man a shield.
He got a shield.
He got the two little blade things, but...
Well, those were shields.
I just wanted to like take off a trash can lid and be like...
I don't think that would do
I wanted something that looked like his shield.
Okay. Maybe he'll get one in the next movie. I thought these little things were cool. Because I thought it was cool when he was running in and like, yeah. Oh, yeah, also when him and Black Panther, like, when they're all charging into battle, and the two of them are just out way in front of everybody else. That was really cool.
Yeah, and then I found it very interesting that Iron Man and Captain America did not say a single word to each other the whole movie.
Yeah, so in the next one, that's the thing, like, the ending was really powerful, but it was lessened a little bit by knowing that those characters have to come back. Because there's going to be a Spider-Man 2, and there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and there's going to be a Black Panther 2, and you can't have any of those things without...
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 could just be a Rocket solo movie.
Right. That's why it was at first like, they can't kill Gamora, but they did. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting for the dynamic of that movie.
But do you think, with the Time Stone, he can go back in time and save Gamora?
He could, I think, but it would kind of ruin the effect of this movie.
That would really suck.
That's the thing. They can't reverse any of those three.
Thoughts on the next Avengers movie? How are they going to get the disintegrated ones back?
My leading theory with that is that Thanos used, like, maybe the Soul Stone or one of the stones to kind of transport them into another dimension type of thing rather than death. And that they can just come back from that somehow. I'm not sure how. And I'm not sure when in the movie they'll do that. So the ending was really unexpected.
Yeah. When Thanos just... And I think it took everyone just a while to figure out what was going on when people started disappearing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, because at first I thought they were Thanos is just teleporting them to another dimension where they all can like fight Thanos and be like, I'm a fair man, I want this to be a good fight, and they all fight each other. But he just, that's like, why would he do that? He can just kill half. That's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
I think it's really cool that the villain won for once. It was really unexpected, and I'm the kind of person who kind of ends up rooting for the villain in a weird way. I just love the villain characters when they're well written, and Thanos was a really well written character. Marvel's starting to get the villains down, I think. Yeah. At first they had some forgettable villains, but their last couple with Black Panther and Spider-Man and Thor Ragnarok have been really strong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely some emotional scenes, even though we know, like we all know Spider-Man has to come back, but still, watching him just as a scared kid who doesn't know what's happening is a really powerful scene there. And now Tony is stuck on Titan, and I don't know how he's going to get back.
Oh, yeah.
Because the ship's destroyed, and he's stuck on Titan. Maybe Captain Marvel or Thor, I guess, could come and get him.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, because Tony, Doctor Strange, and Peter Parker, they're stuck in space. And then I thought, oh, it would be funny, like, the after-credit scene is Peter back at school, and it's like, oh, what did you do for the field trip, or whatever.
Except half their school would be dead.
And I'm like, oh, wait, no, Spider-Man's gone.
And
half
he's
the school
dead.
is gone. And, do you have any negatives for the movie?
In my mind, any negatives I could give would be nitpicks. Because...
Me too.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, it wasn't like a perfect movie, but anything I could say bad about it are things that I don't really care about. Mm-hmm. So, why bother, honestly?
Yeah. Just, for me, very small nitpicks. Captain America's shield. Ant-Man, but I understand it because they have to do Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's weird if they just go back and be like, this is what they were doing before. But I'm sure Ant-Man will, part 2, he'll do some good. Where the what's his name? Korg in the
and
the spider guy.
Valkyrie.
Oh yeah, Valkyrie's not.
Where the frick is she?
they said Thanos killed half of Asgard. Yeah. But then they're all floating in space.
Yeah, Korg and Valkyrie should come back because they were really cool characters. Overall, I loved the movie. I thought it was awesome.
Same here.
It was totally subverted my expectations, and I can't wait to see it again.
For me, 10 years and like 18 movies definitely was just a huge like payoff, and it was just so cool because it's like, this is happening. This is what because I remember like having like a little countdown on my phone. It's like Thor Ragnarok comes out in 700 days. But now Infinity War is already here and I still can't believe it. And now that it's here, and now it just makes sense for Thanos to win now. Because you build up this whole thing just for him to be another standard villain that they just beat in a 3-act structure. It's like,
and you can't really do a standard Marvel movie with so many characters. Anyway, they haven't announced the title for the next one because they've actually said that the title is a spoiler for Infinity War. So I don't know what the title's gonna be.
Infinity War Peter's home.
I guess.
Or
I mean,
what if Spider-Man comes back and takes off the mask? It's like, hey, it's me, Miles Morales.
Why would he change his name and his race?
I think because like if they're dead, then it opens up universes for like alternative.
Yeah, I guess
probably not for Spider-Man. But
I don't think so.
Captain America.
Yeah, speaking of that,
I just want Spider-Gwen in the MC.
I want Spider-Gwen too, honestly. But and if she's not played by Dove Cameron, don't even bother.
I will boycott the movie, and
we're big Dove Cameron fans here.
I'm bigger.
Okay.
Sue Marvel. She already voices.
Yeah, she voices her, so they've got to get her.
And
she'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I'd also love to see Miles Morales, though. It'd be cool if they branched out into the whole Spider-Verse idea.
Well, come see Sony's Into the Spider-Verse coming up this Christmas.
I'm excited for
I
that.
think that's cool. When I can see Spider-Gwen on the big screen.
I loved it, and it was really exciting, and subverted my expectations, and I can't wait to see it again. Non-stop action, and really just any complaints I would have would be nitpicks.
Give that man a shield. Get your tickets. See it early as possible.
Get that man a ticket.
Or woman. Or get that
person a ticket.
Get that Korga spot in the next movie.
Okay, and that's a wrap.
That's a nice thumbnail.
Yeah, that actually is. Okay.